What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel, Sports Life and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Copper, YouTube's number one couch detective, and I'm in for the news. And we're going to be going over several clips today. Carly Lee Russell admits to making up kidnap story. Obama released a statement on death of an employee near his house. An officer who unleashed K9 on man. And several other clips today. But this first clip we're going to be going over is this Carly Russell admits to making up a kidnapping story. Now, after about 2 days after she showed back up, the first day, everybody was super suspicious. Everybody's spidey senses and antennas and shit went up. By that second day, everybody pretty much figured out she was lying. There's no doubt about her. The lady was making the whole story up. But the thing that everybody want to know is why? Why make up this whole ruse? Like what the hell is going on with you where you need to make these type of things up? Well, let's take a look.
Now, an Alabama woman who disappeared earlier this month admits to making it all up. Carly Russell previously told police that she'd been kidnapped, stopping to check on a child who was walking along the interstate. She returned home a couple of days later, but police say investigators could not corroborate her story. Today, the Hoover police chief read a statement released by Russell's attorney. No kidnapping. Thursday, July 9th.
And let me say this, the police, within the first, I would say, 8-9 hours of this investigation pretty much knew this whole thing was made up. And I said that in the first couple of videos that the police is basically just crossing their T's and dotting their I's at this point, making sure they have all the information before they was going to release it. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Yeah, this lady, it's still a mystery on why exactly she did it. But yeah, the police knew this extremely soon. That's why they were so hush mouth on the whole thing.
13th, 2023. My client did not see a baby side of the road. My client did not leave the Hoover area. She was identified as a missing person.
They said she didn't leave the Hoover area. Where in the hell was she at? That's gonna be the main question that everybody's asking. Where was she at, and who was helping her?
Well, next, the police chief said that they will discuss with prosecutors on whether criminal charges will be filed against Russell for a jury tomorrow.
But, obviously this girl is lying, and obviously, she lied, and, they're going to probably file some kind of charges against her. And, the police wasted a lot of time and a lot of money investigating this, but, charges should be brought. There should be consequences for this type of stuff. Making false claims. Even, like when people have sexual assault and there's a false sexual assault claim, there should be charges brought up against that person. There's no doubt about it. But usually when it comes to women, they're pretty lenient when it comes to women. But let's see. She is a black woman. They might throw the book at her, But we'll be here to check it out and talk about it. And, we'll see. This next clip, Obama released a statement on death of employee near his house. Now, when they say near his house, my first question, was it near his house or was it at his house? You just never know. And a lot of times, some of these employees have a lot of information. They know a lot about the Obamas. They see them on a day-to-day basis. They're around them a lot, and they have a lot of information on these people. Now, I would imagine 99% of the time they would make them sign a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA. But still, people still be scared of information coming out. Now, this could have been a complete total accident. But it also could have been where there's some chicanery and foul play. Let's take a look at the clip. Well, what's going on with that? 1 second. Now the Obama clip, now look how the Obama clip is doing. This is unbelievable. Now the Obama clip don't want to work. Just so happen, y'all. Look, now it winds up and it doesn't want to work. And it's on MSNBC. They might have told him to take that shit down. Ain't no telling. Let's go on to the next clip. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on that. Let me try one more time. One more again.
Back to that breaking
there it
news,
is.
of course, out of Martha's Vineyard, where police are confirming the death of somebody who worked for the Obamas on or near their property. I want to bring in Tom Witcher now with the details. What happened here, Tom?
So the Massachusetts State Police putting out a statement just a few moments ago, Hallie, is calling this an accident that Tafari Campbell, age 45, from Dumfries, Virginia, died. He was found by Massachusetts State Police divers this morning after originally going missing at approximately 7:46 p.m. last night. The Coast Guard, Mass State Police, and other state and local agencies joining in this search. They suspended it overnight last night, began it again this morning, and his body was found earlier today. He was a sous chef at the White House. He was then later employed by the Obamas. And as you can see from the statement, the Obamas calling him a beloved part of our family. No indication here, Hallie, from authorities that there's any foul play here. Unfortunately, appears to be just an accident.
So they say it appears to be just an accident. And the lady said when she started out, either at or near the house. You never know, y'all. But it is the Obamas. This thing will be washed away and swept under the rug. You can guarantee that. But let's take a look at this next clip. Officer who unleashed K9 on man during highway stop, now on paid leave. Look, these is the type of racist cases black people should be fighting against. Every case in every circumstance, like say somebody is a hardened criminal gangbanger, he done all this shit, and he reaches or something, the police shit, I don't want to fight that. But a man who's a truck driver, who looks like he's a decent human being, gets pulled over, guns drawn on him, and a dog sicked on him on purpose. But see, black people won't be outraged over this. No, we won't be outraged over this. This is actually a legitimate case to where you should be upset. The man put his arms up. He surrendered. He asked, what the fuck is going on? I'm just a truck driver. Why in the hell would you unleash your dog on me? And one of the other officers, you could hear him, don't let that dog go. We got body cams on, you idiot. But the man let the dog go anyway. Let's take a look at the clip. You heard him, don't release the dog.
Local officer outside Columbus, Ohio, to hold on to his canine.
Do not release the dog with his hands out.
In this edited video released by the Ohio State Highway Patrol, you can see a suspect raise his hands in an apparent surrender. But officials say Circleville officer Ryan Speakman still unleashed his dog on the unarmed man. Nothing like this should ever happen to anybody. Circleville mayor says following the July.
And you know, sometimes people say, is it racially motivated? I would say yes. Are there instances where these type of things happen to other races of people? Yeah, occasionally. But sometimes you got to realize officers are human beings too. Sometimes they sit around and watch maybe a bunch of alt-right videos or a bunch of extremely right-wing videos, and they get a perception and they get this agenda that all black people are the same. And that's not right, because you should never judge any group of people as all as the same, because there's good, honest, hardworking people in every race. And there's a criminal element in every race, including the white race, who have a methamphetamine and an opioid crisis going on right now. So it's a lot of drug use within their race, a lot of sexual child abuse that goes on in the white community, and that's not all of them. You know what I mean? You can't judge people by that. And sometimes you have to be careful what you ingest in too much of. You have to hear two sides of a story and then make a judgment from that perspective. But you just can't take in too much. And it looked like this dude was dying to release that dog after somebody yelling, "Don't release the dog."
Fourth incident, the officer was placed on administrative leave, but not right away. Why was he not immediately put on administrative leave? I cannot answer that question. I don't know.
Also new tonight,
Authorities releasing 911 audio to say it's from around the incident's time and location, with the caller not identifying himself, but appearing to be the suspect.
But now I'm trying to figure out why they got this done our 23 and our white people.
State police say 23-year-old Jadarius D. Rose was driving this semi when an attempted traffic stop turned into a nearly 30-minute pursuit.
All of them got their joint on the directly. You know, that's what the officers are telling you. They ain't told me nothing. They ain't told me nothing. I don't know why they pulling me up.
Then that disturbing canine mauling reminded some of the 1960s civil rights struggle.
We were mortified by that.
Yeah, black people still ain't got over that civil rights where they was sick of them dogs and spraying people with water hose. But, you know, that's one of those things that obviously you have to move forward in life, and there is more opportunities for the Negro if we take advantage of them and do the right thing and keep our head on, keep our mind and shit on the right track. But there's still racism. There's no doubt about that. And this is a type of racism that you're supposed to fight against. And this is when black people are supposed to be completely up in arms, because this was a black man who was just a truck driver that was pulled over and had a dog sicked on him when he clearly has surrendered.
I would hope that race is not a part of this incident. I can't imagine it being.
You understand where that concern from some people comes?
Of course, I understand.
Authorities say Rose was treated at a hospital and criminally charged. Records show he's been released from jail with his attorney declining to comment. We've also reached out to Officer Speakman, but have not heard back.
Did they say who was criminally charged? Wait a minute. Let me hear that one more time.
I can't imagine it being.
You understand where that concern from some people comes?
Of course, I understand.
Authorities say Rose was treated at a hospital and criminally charged. Records show he's been released from jail with his attorney declining to comment. We've also reached out to Officer Speakman, but have not heard back.
Well, they say he was criminally charged. I wonder what he was criminally charged with. That's interesting. But whatever the case may be, whatever it is, once a man surrenders and puts his hands up, just put the cuffs on him, arrest him, and take him on into jail. Not that big of a deal. No need to try to lose your job, sicking a dog on a surrendering man. Yeah, this ain't 1968. Stop. Let's look at this. Victim of grizzly bear attack near West Yellowstone. Now, I've done so many videos on white people being killed by goddamn bears, sharks, and lions and alligators. I don't know what it is. If the trail that white people walk on ain't one of the most dangerous trails in the world, if it ain't a trail where it's 196 degrees, if it ain't some water that's deep and riddled with sharks, they don't want nothing to do with it. If it's a nice trail through a nice area with very little wildlife, they don't want to go on that. Take me on the one with the grizzly bear and the cub. And then they get attacked and mauled, and then they blame the bear. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at the clip.
Saturday morning, a hiker reported a body on the Buttermilk Trail west of West Yellowstone. Fish, Wildlife and Parks and law enforcement went to the scene and found grizzly bear tracks of an adult and at least one cub.
Yeah, the person who died had wounds consistent with a bear attack. They appeared to have been alone during the encounter.
So, this was a woman, by the way. Not only was she alone, she didn't have no pistol. She didn't have no bear spray. She didn't have nothing to protect herself. But there's signs that be everywhere that there's grizzly bears, bison, and all type of other wildlife out here, mountain lions and cougars and shit. And yet you walk this trail as if there's not a care in the world. It boggles my mind.
No bear spray or firearms were found at the site.
Because of the death and its proximity to populated areas, FWP set up a trap.
And so those capture operations started Saturday and continued Sunday. No bears have been captured at this point. FWP staff also flew the area and did not locate any bears that way.
And I'm happy. I'm happy they're not catching the bears. I don't wish this upon nobody, but like when you put yourself in these type of vicarious positions, like if you go down in one of the worst crime-riddled areas and you walk down the darkest alley with $100 bills taped to your t-shirt and you get attacked and beaten and killed and shot and robbed, it's tough for me to feel, the real empathy I should for you, because you put yourself in a bad circumstance and in a terrible situation.
No bears with radio collars were detected either, and so these bears have not been seen since the incident.
That mountain range you see behind me, the north end of the Absaroka Beartooth Wilderness and beyond that Yellowstone National Park, no question, grizzly bear country. The reality is, though, just a few miles north of here, on the Shields River, a confirmed grizzly bear sighting, the first in decades. That highlights the fact that really anymore, if you are in Montana, you are in grizzly bear country, and that means you need to take steps to stay safe and avoid an encounter.
See, told you, look at this. This is That shit is in big bold letters. This is bear country. Be alert. Carry bear spray. Keep spray accessible and know how to use it. I mean, come on.
We really have to do is shift our mindset to thinking Montana is bear country. I need to be prepared no matter where I am. And I need to be making noise, traveling in groups, carrying bear spray, because these types of encounters, they happen in places that maybe we don't expect.
The Custer Gallatin National Forest has closed the trail until further notice, and FWP's investigation is continuing. In Bozeman, Shell Lehman, MTN News.
And them animals a little bit smarter than what you give them credit for. That bear killed that lady with the guy with that cub and got the hell out of Dodge. You might not never find that bear. And I hope they don't find the bear, because the bear don't deserve to die. The bear is only doing what bears do, and that's protect their young. That's just simple mother nature. But you want to go out there and walk through the trail willy-nilly as if you don't have a care in the world in the middle of bear country. I just can't bear it. I just can't bear to watch another video of a white person being killed by wildlife. Wow. Take a look at this clip. Mass protest rocks Israel as parliament approves key part of, I think it's like their Supreme Court not having more power. I mean, having less power. They want the government to have more power than the Supreme Court. And I did a video the other day, and I was talking about the heat wave. And Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, said he had a heat stroke. He said he had been out in the sun all day. He hadn't drunk no water and there wear no hat. And in the video I said, he's doing really bad in Israel and polls. And that was a lie and just a complete sympathy, a plea for sympathy. But there's a lot of things going on in Israel right now. I remember Henry Kissinger said that Israel won't be a state in 15, 20 years. I remember he said that on live TV. That was years ago. But if you don't know who Henry Kissinger is, he's a former politician and a Jewish man who held a lot of weight and wielded a lot of power in the United States and in Israel. So, but yeah, they say this is not going to be a state. And sometimes you hear these things, from back in the day. I remember being in school and they would say, hey, they're going to take God out of school. And it just seems so far-fetched. And then now it's just so normal. It's just something that's been going on for so long now that it's just become normalized. But let's take a look at this clip. I'm sorry, that's the wrong clip.
We're tracking chaos in the streets of Jerusalem. Demonstrators are out protesting a controversial bill.
Yeah, this after lawmakers passed a bill that limits when the Israeli Supreme Court can intervene in their government affairs.
Man. Hey, thank God they didn't have that host there, civil rights. Jesus Christ. That shit like to busted that man's sternum. Did you see how strong that water hit? He started doing flips and cartwheels and shit. Jesus Christ.
Protesting a controversial...
Watch him again. Watch how this water hose hit this man.
When the Israeli Supreme Court can intervene in their government affairs.
Oh, man.
Today, the streets of Israel erupting into chaos. Protesters blocking major roads, chaining themselves together in front of the country's parliament. A last-ditch effort by opponents of the government's controversial plan to weaken the Supreme Court. But it wasn't enough.
Israeli police are using water cannons to try to clear the roads. They're cracking down hard with the protesters.
And in Israel, it's just like the United States. They have a far left and a far right. And you also have people who are more centric, but the right, the right of Israel, the right political party, they're in power in Israel. So anytime people are in power, they tend to use it,
Hey, they'll stay on the streets.
A car appearing to rail protesters. Police say 3 injured. The first part of Prime Minister Netanyahu.
And as you can see, that was a government, that looked like what you would call an undercover government car. Windows blacked out. Because, with these protests, you can't just have the government mowing people over. You need You need to make it look like it's just some random person. This is where they be using people under mind control and using agents and using outside influences. Like right now, don't be surprised if Israel don't try to start some kind of war or try to start something to take the heat off of them, because this is a lot of internal strife that's going on in Israel right now. Don't be surprised. You heard it here first on Sports Life and Politics TV that don't be surprised if Israel doesn't try to start some kind of war here soon, because this protest has been going on for a while now.
Judicial overhaul passing 64-0. His conservative religious government voting for it.
And anytime you have something past 64-0, that means everybody's in cahoots together. That means whatever that is whatever bill that they're trying to pass, they're passing it in a way that's not genuine. That's disingenuous. Nobody 64-0 agrees on anything in politics. Nothing. So that's how you know that's disingenuous.
While opposition lawmakers walked out in protest. The plan takes away the Supreme Court's power to nullify some government decisions. Netanyahu allies say liberal judges...
And when they say some government decisions, that means the best ones. You know what I mean? They don't care about little small things here and there. Whatever they talking about that they don't want the Supreme Court to nullify, it's going to be the biggest and the best ones that people are the hot button ones that people really want the Supreme Court to rule on. The government said, no, we'll be overruling the Supreme Court on that.
Incorrectly overturning actions of the conservative majority. Netanyahu tonight saying, fulfilling the will of the voters is not the end of democracy, it's the essence of democracy.
That's word salad.
Say they're afraid for their country.
I'm worried about my future, my children's future.
You should be.
These military reservists say...
Let me say this about Israel. After World War II, they took Israel from the Palestinians, you know what I mean, by force. So, you know, what goes around comes around. Everything you do comes back to you. And, you know, a lot of times these type of things, when they happen, it's always internal, and usually they destroy from within, because Israel's a nuclear power too, and they have all the military technology damn near the United States got. Not on the same level, but they have the same access.
No longer serve in protest of the new law. Some of them veterans of Netanyahu's old commando unit.
I think he's the first dictator of Israel. Okay, that was rough assumption.
See, they cut that off. He's the first dictator in Israel. It is what it is, man. Benjamin Netanyahu, he's under a lot of pressure right now. There's no doubt about that, you guys. Let's look at this video. Now, this video doesn't have any sounds, just words. Creepy new evidence in Gilgo Beach serial killer case. And the reason why I won't go to this clip, because they're going to show a lady in this lady right here. You see this lady right here? She says she dated the Gilgo Beach murderer. And in this other video, on the Insider News video, they're going to show her from back when she was dating him. And I'm going to make an assertion of something that I think of why he didn't kill her. Let's take a look at this clip.
Rex, did you do it?
11 bodies were discovered in Long Beach. Rex Human was charged last week with killing the 3 of the victims. All sex workers in their 20s who disappeared after meeting Humerman. Humerman lived a double life, working as a successful Fifth Ave architect. In 2018, he did renovations on the building owned by Donald Trump. Hey, don't you think for 1 second they didn't throw that in there on purpose? Out of all the renovations he did, they want to make sure, just to, just to button hook that to Donald Trump, just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just to pin that next to Donald Trump just a little bit. But prosecutors say when his wife and children left town, Humerman used burner phones to contact his victims before they disappeared. Humerman was obsessed with the case and his victims. Of course he was. Looking at his own handiwork. Prosecutors said he searched compulsively for photos of victims and their families. Of course he did. He was getting off. Hey, wait a minute. And this is the lady. Now, obviously, in the video she just did an interview with CNN here recently, she's way bigger. It's like she gained like fucking 150 pounds. One woman who dated Humerman said he wouldn't stop talking about the murders. That's very interesting. That he didn't kill you. And you know why, you guys, he didn't kill her? Allegedly. is because he's a Luciferian and she's a Luciferian. You can tell this woman has a demonic spirit on her. And when they came into contact with each other, it was for a reason. And they had, who sits around, what kind of woman sits around and talks about a serial killer, obsessing about it, and you don't think in the back of your mind that maybe this guy's the serial killer and he did it? Of course, she knew he did it. I wouldn't be surprised they wouldn't masturbating to the pictures together or having some freaky demonic sex. I wouldn't be surprised if Humerman in his spare time didn't cross dress and do all type of wacky shit. But this woman is most definitely 100% alleged a Luciferian. Look at her. The one woman who dated Humerman said he would not stop talking about the murders. How long do a woman talk to a man about murders before you become highly suspicious? But like I said, she knew he was the murderer. He didn't just talk about him. He told her about him and told her how he did him and what he did. And she liked it, was into it. She looks like one of them blood drinkers. And he, listen, wait a minute. I'm sorry. God damn it. Let's say it. I'm sorry. Let me go back to that. And it say he knew details that weren't in the news. My mother. I had to stand up, y'all. What? And that's why I say this is why you watch my channel, because I'm telling you this lady is part of it. She's wicked. She's a demon. And she knew damn well he knew details. And you didn't think to tell the police or the goddamn, you didn't think to call the FBI, the CIA, anybody. You didn't think to contact the local law enforcement or officials or nothing. And he knew details that weren't in the news. It said investigators found Humerman did searches of torture porn and child pornography. And I just told y'all. See, I hadn't watched this whole video. I seen up until I seen the lady and read it, but I didn't see this part. He watched torture porn and child pornography. They were doing some sick shit together and was getting off on this shit. Seriously. It said neighbors in Massapequa Park found his behavior strange and unsettling. Yeah, everybody always find it strange and unsettling when the police arrest him. But I'm pretty sure he was a weirdo. One of his neighbors said he would burn his trash and dig holes in the backyard. Investigators found more than 200 firearms in his home. Police say that this case is just beginning. The case is just beginning. But officials are opening unsolved cases in Las Vegas. That's here where I'm at. South Carolina, where Humerman owns properties. Yeah, he might be killing all around the world. Yeah, he might have been tearing people's ass up from city to city, coast to coast. He has pled not guilty to all the charges against him. Well, that's all he can do. He ain't got nothing to lose at this point. Let me look at this. They got DeSantis is back in the news. Ron DeSantis is always in the news. He's a media darling at this point, but can't make up no ground in the polls on Donald Trump. But he is what you would call a staunch Republican. He is the type of Republican that Republicans like within politics. And Donald Trump is not. But if it wasn't for Donald Trump, this will be the front runner. There's no doubt in my mind for the candidacy of president for the Republican Party. Let's take a look at this. Teacher expresses concern over new state standards of teaching Black history in the state of Florida. Let me say this. Whatever they teach in there, it doesn't matter. You should teach that shit in your home anyway. Black people need to, if this is the case and they don't like it, what they should do is start building little small programs and areas and teaching our own history to our children, whether it be about the Seminoles or the Maroons or whatever else you want to teach about Black history, but our history and our narrative about what you want them to learn. That's one thing I do respect about the Jewish community. They don't wait on other people to teach their kids their history. They're going to teach them in the home. They're going to teach them in the synagogue. They're going to teach them shit while they're driving in the car. They're going to be teaching them all the time about their own history. Black people waiting on somebody else to teach them their history. Nobody's going to ever teach you your correct history like you, ever. So let's take a look at this clip.
Today, Governor Ron DeSantis and the Florida Department of Education are facing renewed criticism over the state's new 2023 academic standards for Black history.
Tampa Bay's Hannah Deneen spoke with teachers who are concerned over what the changes could mean for them, their students, and the state's future.
It's sort of a slap in the face to history and to historians.
David Calhoun has been teaching social studies in Florida for more than 2 decades.
I teach history, and history is not for anybody.
Let me say this. History is my favorite subject by far. I just love it. I've always loved it since I was a kid. I don't know what it is about it. It's just something that, like, if somebody likes science and biology and chemistry, I don't know. I think it's just in you, but I love history. That don't mean I know every single detail about history, but I'm willing to learn it, and I'm also willing to listen. And I'm also willing to listen to 2 different perspectives on the history to try to get some discernment on exactly what happened in history.
Political gain, it's ugly, but it's the truth.
In his view, the state's new
Because the victor usually tells the history. Like if it's a war between 2, usually the people who win tell the history, and it's always going to be a little bit slanted. So that's why you always have to be able to use some discernment where you can read it in between the lines and try to get to the bottom of the story. The best way, the bottom of history, the best way you know how.
study standards stray from the truth, particularly a portion that says African Americans received some personal benefit from slavery, which Governor DeSantis defended at a recent engagement.
So I think that they're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed, being a blacksmith into doing things later in life.
They make this sound like it's some kind of job corps thing where people got off
yeah.
And there was like somebody sitting there and saying, "Hey, you want to be a carpenter?" That's not how it worked.
With the new school year now weeks away, leaders of the Hillsborough Teachers Union want the school board to step up to help guide teachers.
We want to work directly with the school board members and making sure they understand what needs to be taught, and we have a clear understanding and input on that.
At the core of these
Let me say this. They ain't taught Black history no good at school anyway. So I don't even know why people up in arms, because they've never taught the proper Black history in America in schools anyway. They've never told the whole story. They told a little bit about slavery, some shit about civil rights, and they moved on. So the story is way deeper, way more profound than that. It really is, but tomato, tomato.
Leaders' concerns is what's best for Florida students.
Our students will fall behind not having that correct education and proper quality education.
Hannah Deneen, 10 Tampa Bay.
The Florida House Democratic leader Fentrice Driscoll put out a call this weekend demanding the commissioner of the State Department of Education to step down because of the new standards. She says she has not received a response from the department.
Of course, she's not going to receive a goddamn response from the department. Not at all. But that was the last clip of the day. I was going to go over a couple more clips, but I think I'll save them for the next video. But yeah, I mean, what can you say? You teach your kids their history. Put down Instagram for 15, 20, 30 minutes and read some history with your children. Go through some history. Watch some documentaries. Get several different perspectives on the same part of history, and then try to use some discernment and try to figure it out with your child. But you'll never get all of that shit out of the American school system anyway. Yeah. Wasted time and pointless. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been Sports Life and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Koppel. I'm here for the news. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I just took your ass on another white person got killed by a bear ride. Peace.